Tell me when.
Well, the internet was good down here.
Huh?
There we go. How's that?
Okay, I'm gonna call this July 16th meeting of the South Thompson Select Board to get order at 6:01. And pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's consider the agenda. And follow me.
Yep.
And we have a correspondence from with the DASCO. We want to add correspondence. We have a quiz on the agenda for seeking permission to apply for 2 grants. Is that it?
And then
One other thing.
there was the catering permit.
Oh, that wasn't on the agenda?
No, I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, Sue or Jeff?
No. But I don't see person here for the catering permit.
Do we have anything on the catering? Yeah, it's in the new
It's
section.
in the
packet.
little packet.
Now we get 2 packets. All right, I'm gonna take a few items out of order. Is Amy and Julian Spears both here?
Yep.
Or on?
They're
Okay,
both on Zoom.
let's jump down to new business A, consider new hire. Julian Spears requested by ambulance director Amy Drinkwater. Amy, do you wanna introduce Julian, and then he can speak for himself?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Julian took my last advanced class in St. George, and he would like to do some per diem work down in South Thomaston for us. I think that he's on and he'll come off. His camera can come on. Julian, can you? There you go. So he sent his resume and a cover letter and everything, and I forwarded it to Hannah. But he can speak, and you can introduce yourself, Julian.
And Julian, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, just briefly?
Hi, my name is Julian. I have been in the fire service for 2 years. I've had my EMT license for a year now, and as Amy said, I finished her advanced EMT class. I just need to test out and get my advanced license. I'm currently on the department of Topsom, and I worked in Scarborough full-time previously, which is a very busy department. Also, what I always like to say, I'm from Jamaica, so this is like a little difference for me sometimes. So let me know if I pronounce a word that you don't really understand because of my accent.
No, you're doing fine. So where do you live now? I take it not Jamaica.
I currently live in Topsom.
Okay. Questions? Comments?
Who'd you say you ran with for fire?
So I currently work in Topsom per diem. That's where I started off into the whole EMS and fire service. And I previously worked in Scarborough full time for like 10 months.
Good. So is there a motion to accept Amy's recommendation to hire Julian Spears as a, I guess at this point it's an EMT, correct?
Correct.
Yes, but I just took the test out for my advance here pretty.
Okay, second. So I got a motion and a second, further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Amy, why don't we continue while we're on this, get you out the door if you want, appointment.
Welcome, Julian.
Thank you.
Appointment of Noah Carlson as captain on the ambulance service. Did someone leave this position or?
Yes, so that position's been open for about a year when we moved Ryan Colson over to assistant. And we kind of wanted to find someone that would put extra into South Thomaston. And Noah does do extra and above and beyond when he's at work. And even when he's not there, if we ask him to do something, he's more than willing to step in. So I think David's in person with him and Noah's in person. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So if he wants to say anything or David wants to say anything, but that's why we wanted to move Noah into the captain's spot.
Okay, I didn't catch who you said was in it before.
Ryan Colson.
Oh, okay. Either one of you want to say anything? You don't have to, but you're welcome to.
No,
Okay.
we're all set.
Okay. Is there questions? Motion?
I move we appoint Noah Carlson to the position of captain for the ambulance service in accordance with Amy's desires.
I second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? And thank you, Nora. I see you around all the time doing stuff. I think whatever things we've been or. So Amy, she gone?
Nope, I'm right here. Did you need anything else from me? I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have
I'm out of
anything else.
state.
We got a long agenda here. You don't have anything else, correct?
Nope.
I have one question, if I could. Is July shaping up to be a busy month for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
We've been very busy between South Thomaston and St. George, like helping back and forth. Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like through June, we're pretty high anyway, and I think July is gonna spike that even more. It's gonna
I
be
agree.
a busy year total. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna jump to appoint Toby Hoyt as a part-time laborer. Toby responded to my ad to help me out. I lost my previous helper. He got a job as a stern man. And he's only here until mid-September. Then he's going on some worldwide adventure somewhere or something, but he's and he also told me that if I find somebody on a more permanent basis between now and mid-September, he'd be happy to step aside. So I would recommend that you appoint him as a laborer. I see we got a sign we gotta deal with right now down on Island Road. It looks like a truck just ran one over a stop sign on the corner, so.
I move we appoint Toby Choate.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To work as a temporary laborer for the uncompensated interim road commission.
All right, further discussion, all those in favor? And why don't we deal with West Pratt here too, so we don't forget this. Hannah, can you just explain this a little bit, because I see it says pending response of interest, so.
Yeah, Penny told me that he was, wanting to join. I sent him an email. I was waiting to hear back from him, his interest. I haven't heard back. I asked Penny, she hasn't heard back. So I wasn't sure if you wanted to appoint him and then wait until he replies, or.
You might be able to.
So he hasn't submitted any letter of
He has
interest?
not.
or
I
anything?
just heard from Penny that he was interested.
Do we
So I didn't.
want to appoint him or table it, or, I mean, typically we try to get a letter or something,
Table him.
huh?
I would table it.
Okay. Is there a motion to table this?
I make a motion, we table the appointment of Wes Pratt for the Community Resilience Committee until we get a letter of interest or email or something from
Yeah,
her.
second. And can I ask, do we have a vacancy on this committee?
Yes.
We do, okay. I thought it was a good question to ask.
Thanks too.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure there's one. Okay, further discussion, all those in favor of tabling it? Okay, so Hannah, bring that back next time, hopefully.
Yep.
All right, let's move to, is there anything else we can just get rid of and get someone out of here quickly? Let's move to Cliff. Cliff, you wanna apply for a couple of your authorization to apply for a couple of small grants?
Yeah, I actually hope they grow in size as we talk, so,
Okay.
2 grants, one from the Leary Firefighters Foundation. And we're going to be applying for the grant for what's called a fire inductor, which is a gadget that you throw overboard into a station water source, and it instantly generates pressure. So for like fire ponds and whatnot, where rivers where we have to, we have to draft water. Sometimes that becomes a very cumbersome process, and this makes that process much easier. The grant from this foundation, they will accept somewhere between $5,000 and $25,000. This is gonna be about 5. And so prepare the letter of intent, which I think is circulated. And pending your approval, we'll submit that. The second one is through the Firehouse Subs Foundation. We have applied to them now twice. We've been turned down twice. Persistence is the art of getting grants, and so I would like to resubmit our grant. Our grant is for blankets to throw over burning electric cars and put them out. And if you haven't seen the video on YouTube, it's pretty neat. You just take a couple of firefighters, grab this blanket and cover a car with it, and it's weighted and the oxygen is excluded, the fire goes out. This is about $11,000 altogether. It's a long shot because my suspicion is the Firehouse Subs wants to use it as advertising for what? Firehouse Subs, and the closest Firehouse Subs stores in Thompson. So maybe Julian wants to go patronize it, but probably not many of us do. So we've already got it written, and then there's one permission to submit it.
And I assume, David, you're on board with both of these? Yeah. Is there a motion? Take them both at once, or you want to do them individually?
I make a motion to approve both requests for grants.
I'll second that.
Okay, and I assume, is there any match requirement?
No, none of these.
Further discussion? All those in favor? And then Cliff, you sent us the letter.
Snarky letter.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I dropped my truck off down at Carrie's the other day, yesterday, and walked back home, and people are still flying.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
Well, the some substance of the letter is that, this was prompted by a bicycle ride down Island Road, and I almost got murdered by a CMOS truck coming down at roughly 117 miles an hour. And that's the trucks that come from, Atwoods. They're of varying size, but there's a period of time between about earlier in the morning and about 1 and 2:30 in the afternoon, where the traffic on Island Road gets to be really amazingly thick and amazingly fast. And there are people of varying capacities walking up and down the road all the time, and I'm really concerned that I think 35 is fast enough, and I'd like to request that the select board consider some form, and I'm not sophisticated enough to know what, of enforcement of the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, whether it's stationing a sheriff there or putting a sign, or if you do put a sign there, I'd also say, please do not throw your McDonald wrappers out on the side of the road also.
And all the way to Fireball.
Your fireball. Yeah.
If you're throwing out fireballs, leave them full.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think I heard the same story 18 years ago. And I heard it 12 years ago and 16 years ago. I think the only thing we can do as a board, if we're so inclined, is to write a letter to the sheriff again. You know, we did chat with them and we talked about, you know, they sit down there by the airport where I've never seen an accident ever. And yet, for some reason, you can't get them to come down near the corner at Waterman's Beach or Island Road. So we could try another letter, but I still think the most effective thing is if the citizens who use that road really pepper the sheriff's office with letters, that's probably as effective as anything. So, I mean, we have no ability to enforce it.
No, I know that, and they're just, people of varying ages, from very young
Yeah.
people to very old people. Are walking on that road all the time, and by the way, many of us appreciate having the trimming done on the side of the road, that was an upgrade, because it keeps the ticks down, but but even then, there's not much side to walk on. And if there are two trucks passing, they can't swerve, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Well, it's interesting because tonight I was coming out from Island Road and it looks like a big dual rear wheel truck went into the ditch right by Melissa's, right, knocked the stop sign over. And of course, damaged her culvert, which is a state culvert. She's having pictures already. But I saw it too. And so anyways, I'm not sure that was speed, but certainly someone not quite on the roadway. But
There is another option out there, and I'm reluctant to put it out there because John and I were both part of an attempt to do this years ago, and we were soundly defeated and beat down, to be frank. But if we got a petition from people in the town that said we'd like you to do something about getting a greater police presence during certain hours, we could have a special town meeting and get approval to, because if we're gonna do anything other than just say, can you increase it, it's gonna come with a cost. So if we go to the sheriff's office and say, we want you to be there X number of hours a week, then they're gonna say, here's what the cost would be, and we'd have to enter into some sort of a contractual agreement. Which is what we tried to do a few years ago, and a few years before that, and a few years before that. And the select board, after being defeated, told not to get a police officer in the town, at that time decided to go ahead and pay Knox County to come down and patrol the roads for extra hours. And they were ridiculed at the next select board's meeting. So at that time, I swore I would never advocate for this unless the town said, do it, and we're willing to pay for it. So my recommendation is, we saw how easy it is to get a petition signed to have a special town meeting, and authorize the select board to enter into a contractual agreement with Knox County for increased coverage. But other than that, all they're gonna do, again, the number of county sheriffs and deputies that are out here are not all that great, and it's a very large county.
Yeah.
So unless we put money down, then all we're doing is, hey, if you guys aren't doing anything else, come down and patrol this area. The one at the airport is an airport security guy, and he's allowed to go into Owl's Head and South Thomaston, but only during certain hours and only on certain days. And right now, the sheriff is talking about eliminating that unless we get some other way to fund those positions. So getting additional over and above what we get from Knox County comes with a price. And to do that, the town would have to tell me it was.
Is there opportunity for comment here?
Sure.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead,
On the same subject, I've been thinking a lot about it myself. And I think it would also be great to do some kind of pedestrian safety awareness in that pedestrians on Island Road are aware of the fact that they should go single file when there's a vehicle coming and to get off the road as much as possible, because often, even if you're going the speed limit and you're coming up to a blind curve and you've got 2 or 3 people walking in the road, it's very dangerous. So it goes a little bit, goes both ways a bit. Definitely speed is the biggest issue.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know how you structure that. But.
I don't know, maybe it's I don't know if it's Cliff's place, but in one of the community center events that we do about health and safety.
Yeah.
I don't know,
We
I'm
all-
just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea, and I agree with you, it's very, there's a element of frustration, I mean, there's people on vacation just sort of lazily walking along 2 abreast or 3
Yeah.
abreast, and then there's people that are working, and that's kind of a
Yep.
built-in.
So the thing
flag.
is that the island community has changed. When I and you first moved here, it was a walking community and people could leisurely stroll, but we've had commercial increase with both with the co-op and with Mazzetta and also McLuhan's. And so it has changed, unfortunately, the way we need to look at strolling on Island Road. And we want to be safe, right? So.
Joe.
Yeah, in other places I've lived, they have at places of concern, speed cameras. It's just there. If it's triggered by going over the speed limit and it takes a picture of the car, the license plate, and the time and date and the speed. And a ticket is just mailed to the owner of the vehicle saying this vehicle was speeding. We're not saying we know who was driving, but if unless you'd like to contest it, here's how you pay $100 fine. It's all automatic. I mean, of course, there's a little expense getting it set up. But the beauty of it is that anybody mailed once always slows down at that spot. So the cameras are where you're most concerned. Suddenly you have a self-policing community. Oh, I don't need to pay $100 to take this corner at 40 miles an hour. And if we're prepared to offer to pay something, we could pay Knox County Police or the sheriff's office what it would cost to put up those cameras, which cannot be as much as it would pay for a patrolman.
Unfortunately, do you know of any place in the state of Maine where they have cameras that do that?
Wisconsin.
Well, the state of Maine could
Do they truly
always
in Wisconsin?
join the great majority.
Everybody drives 25.
I do know that they have been outlawed in certain situations in the state of Maine. State of Maine does not authorize it, except for very rare.
Municipal were they outlawed?
Because you don't know who's driving, and if you send a ticket to the owner of the vehicle, it could have been somebody else driving.
Oh,
You
but it's the ticket.
all I'm telling you is what is, okay?
But the tickets that I have received.
We used to have cameras at stoplights. We used to have cameras at stoplights, and we don't anymore because the state has outlawed it.
Well, we couldn't do that anyway.
And we couldn't do it
We
anyway.
don't
It's not
have
our.
authority to issue.
No,
that road.
understand.
So I would.
Work this through because the ticket doesn't say you must have been driving. It says your vehicle.
Right.
Was.
Which is why the state of Maine
Right.
had lawsuits that said you can't send me a ticket if I wasn't driving the vehicle, and you can't prove it's me.
Oh, somebody ought to revisit that because the ticket says if somebody else was driving, feel free to pass it on. and-
We'll send you to Augusta.
But other states do it.
They
And
do.
it is a safety measure, it's not, I mean, it makes little revenue, but it also automatically gets people. Okay, there's a speed camera there, I'm gonna slow down to the limit.
We have put out the,
The signs,
uh,
yeah.
the sign that
signs,
flashes, you know, but the county lends it to us, but. You know, that's a project, you gotta find someone with a trailer and haul it out there and set it up and take it down and, you know. We've done that a few times, I don't know where that trailer is now, but anyway, I'm gonna move on, we got a long agenda, this came in under correspondence, I would suggest that anybody who's interested in this subject. Probably the people to talk with are Knox County Sheriff's Department. And, you know, we certainly could issue a letter of support or something, but. Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Can I add real quick? I'll add real quick. I do know that the sheriff's department is trying to find alternate ways to fund the sheriff's deputies that are required to be at the airport during airport screenings. Because TSA has cut back on that funding, so they are actively pursuing other ways to fund those positions.
okay. We got a long way to go here, so I'm gonna move on. So Jeff, do you have any update for us regarding contact with the fire marshal's office? Regarding indefinite versus temporary occupancy of Gilbert Butler?
No, because I thought I was a strat.
You know what?
I thought Penny was gonna,
Oh, I thought you were gonna take the lead on that.
no, I just didn't make sure I was involved. It would be, I would recommend that I'm involved. I haven't heard anybody talk about
I was not directed in any way, shape or form to indicate that.
Yeah, my recollection was, not to contradict you, but that you were gonna take the lead on it, but I don't know.
it. I was not planning to take the lead. I think that I should be a part of it because I was a part of the original. There was somebody else here that said that they wanted to participate, you and somebody else. Penny and somebody else. And I said, if you're gonna do that, please add me to the
I'm
list.
sorry, I remember it as it was the select board's decision to have you.
What does the minute say? Yeah, but I can't find that section. Asking them to respond to the, and also to contact the fire marshal, doesn't say who.
We did have discussion that last time it was John Hanson's replacement that pursued it. John Hanson initiated it and his replacement was present.
Well, I still think we as a board have an obligation to let them know, and, you know, it might be just as simple as a quick letter, and if they don't have any. They're liable not to respond for 10 months, right? I mean, so. I'll draft some short little letter or something, and just send it to them, and just explain the situation's changed, and circulate it with you guys, and that, I feel like we have at least hope. And then kind of puts the ball in their court. Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, report from the auxiliary chair concerning conservation. The conversation, excuse me, with Representative Pingree and King's office regarding the CDS funds. After the last select board meeting, I think I told you I had a conference call scheduled with Representative Pingree's office, and we got on that call, and Hannah was there, and I didn't realize it at the time, but a representative from King's office was there. But I'm gonna skip that for a minute, because the big news is sort of superseded that. Sandy got an email saying that King's request for the $1.2 million was not included in the Senate appropriations bill. So to say that's disappointing, is an understatement, but personally, I'm not surprised. I did reach out to Cole Sarabona, is that how you think we say it?
Yeah.
I don't, I said it wrong, I know it.
Talked to him, and he really didn't have much additional information, or if he did, he wasn't willing to volunteer it. And so I guess when I say I wasn't surprised in the macro level, but the micro level, I really was a little bit, because at the 7-1 meeting, I thought when we informed them of what the auxiliary had proposed and approved and what the select board approved, I got the sense, and Hannah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but sort of the hybrid proposal, they were pretty enthused about that idea. Yeah, you've got that same sense. I mean, they're very indirect, speaking,
Yeah.
because they can't promise anything, but, I did follow up, like I said, with Cole yesterday, didn't get a lot of information. I tried to contact Pingree's office. And the contacts there were out of the office until I think Friday, but that doesn't surprise me, because I think the House and the Senate are on recess this week. But Cole did confirm that the best we're gonna do now is 1.2 million if the Pingree request goes through, so we in effect.
Joe, so I talked with Christie, Breeze in the King's Bangor office.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing, but she said there were so many requests this year. I said, but it seemed like you were also enthused about what we were doing. And she said, well, when they go into reconciliation, I don't know when that happens. It's possible that it could come back, but she said, and then I said, is there any disadvantage to us for going back again next year if we decide to reapply? And she said, no, absolutely not. You should feel free to apply. Some people apply several times before they get it. And that by then maybe the situation in your town will be resolved. So that was the only thing that took me off a little bit, so.
Well, he did mention the reconciliation process, but he told me it would be very doubtful that it would put back in this year. That would be very unusual, and so, that's the one piece that we did talk a little bit about, but I think we need to contact Pingree's office and do what we can to try to hang on to that one. But, so anyways, so I was prepared earlier to kind of go over in detail, what was talked about in the 7-1 meeting, but half of that seems moved at this point, but I will mention again, they seem very pleased with just let me finish and I'll open up the comments. They seem very pleased with the proposal. The so-called, for lack of a better word, hybrid proposal that the board approved and the board of selectmen and board of directors. Obviously they weren't that pleased. But yeah, actually, to the point where they said, what I said to them, or we said to them, do we need to revise the grant application? And they said, no, given what you're proposing, I think it's fine for now. So I found that very encouraging at the time, but yeah, oh well. So other news from the auxiliary, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear that the Congress wants the town of South Thomaston, if they get money, to have what they call skin in the game. And that means we have to raise 25%,
Right.
whatever they give us. So that's $350,000 that we have to raise as a town before we see a
Right.
dime of the 1.2 million.
Right, but we knew that from the beginning.
Right.
Right. And it doesn't have to be the town. I mean,
No.
it can be other grants or
Right.
donations or, there's not, so I don't want anyone to walk away confused that the town has to raise that in tax money. That's not the case. So, we are having a meeting tomorrow night. Barbara kind of put together, we're inviting Kevin Barker to speak with him a little bit. Also, we appointed Terry Baines, a a member of the auxiliary. She was appointed to the vacant slot in accordance with the recent amended bylaws. I just, we struggle sometimes to get a quorum, and I think she can help with that, and she also has, you know, a lot of knowledge of the town, and she has a lot of knowledge of dealing with the processing of federal grants and the technical end of it from her job here. So I think she's a great addition. So hopefully we'll continue to have a quorum so we can do business. And I think probably we'll just, the auxiliary will probably just sort of lay dormant for a while and continue to follow the King, the Pingree grant request, and wait to the repurposed facility committee so it gets up and running and coordinate with them. So that's kind of an update on that. I don't know if you have any questions or do anything?
No.
Okay. Anybody else from the public? Okay. Review of the draft repurchase mission statement for the library and community center facilities committee. We got, I couldn't even kind of follow. We got several emails related to that. I don't know if everybody CC'd on everything, but one of them was about the last paragraph. A couple of people spoke to that, saying that that shouldn't be in there. But I think my intent with putting that in there was simply to let the committee know what the auxiliary had basically agreed to do. So, I mean, I don't think we can change what the auxiliary did in the mission statement. I mean, they did what they did, and we've informed congressional delegation. So I think that was simply an information in my mind. But then there were several comments about it wasn't clear, or it was too cumbersome or whatever. I guess I went back and reread it, and obviously I'm showing my bias. I thought it was well written. But I don't know if you guys.
No, I
thought
you were on target.
Yeah, I think.
And as far as I'm concerned, the town told you to lead, and that's leading, and so I'm behind your lead.
Well,
Well, I want to be clear, I still do not believe the town has given us
yeah,
guidance and direction. And without that, we have two choices. We wait for them to give us guidance and direction, or we press ahead the best way we can. I think this is the best way to press ahead. All those people who have, and I'll tell you, it wasn't just one side that was sniping at it. It was everybody who has a different idea of what direction the town thinks we should go in. And we just gotta go in a direction. Change in direction means change direction. We gotta go in a direction until somebody tells us to stop. So.
yeah, I also think that I get the sense we're making this a little overly complicated. I mean, we've been at this since 2018. We, you know, like the building, we have a good sense of what the major problems are there. I mean, starting way back with the work that John Hanson done, and certainly Penny has a good sense of what needs to be done, the problems that are there. But I don't know that that's that major task to put that together. I mean, so I guess, and then there were several that pose questions that we can't answer, like how much money is the town willing to put into this? Right, you can't answer that question. So I mean, that would be a town meeting question. So I don't know. I just feel the more we fiddle around with this, the more time we lose.
I agree.
And when the facilities committee, the new repurposed facilities committee, once it's sort of up and running, I mean, they can always come back to us and say, you know, can we modify this or something like that, but we can't modify what the auxiliary did. Right, so, any other comments or questions? Any public comments or questions? Okay. So move ahead with that, see where it goes. Okay, skipping ahead, we have resignations from the auxiliary committee from Jan Gaudio, Moira Paddock, and Kate Clark. This little list that Hannah put together might be helpful.
Yeah.
So, we've already had a resignation from Sandy Wiseman, but we've already accepted that, so. Is there a motion to accept the resignation for those three? Do you want to do them individually or all three at a time?
I think
Doesn't
we
matter.
do them all at once. I'll make a motion that we accept the resignations of Jan Gaudio, Moira Paddock, and Kate Clark from the LCPFC.
Second. Further discussion? I'd like to thank them for their service.
Yes.
Yep, yeah. Further discussion? All those in favor? My term as the representative to the auxiliary is up to August 3rd. I'm willing to, in the spirit of trying to convince everybody else to stay, I'm willing to stay. For at least a while. If you would care to reappoint me, if you don't want to reappoint me, that's okay too.
I make a motion that we reappoint John. Representative to the LCCA.
Well, actually nominating me.
I'm nominating
Yeah, and
you.
then the board has to vote on it, right, yep, so, second. Okay, further discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor? And I'm gonna abstain, you know. I don't have to, but I'm gonna.
Congratulations.
Okay, oh, we missed something. Consider appointments to the the Library Community Center Facilities Committee, I guess the repurpose. So just to recap where we are, we currently have 4 members of the 7 have resigned. We have 4 existing members, Marsha Turner, Catherine Lerm, Candace Smith, and Michael Kalinowski. And we think this is the latest rendition.
I hope so.
Of John Aldermeyer, Denise, I can't say her name. Irvin,
Just R, Denise R.
Irv Curtis, Virginia Slauson, Lynn Tuto, Penny Alley, Kevin Bunker, Maureen Spencer, Nancy Goslin. She only wants to be an alternate, but I don't think we don't have any alternates on this committee.
How many,
And
how big is?
it's currently 7, but we could make it bigger or smaller.
John, you have it at 9.
Huh?
You have it up to 9 members. on
That's what I thought.
Okay, maybe it was.
You
not.
made that change.
Yeah,
last year.
yes, okay, I do remember. It was originally 7, but thank you. So we have 9 and 4 filled, so without making it bigger, we have 5 slots. I'll be frank, I'm not interested in appointing Irv. I don't think he's on board with the mission at all.
Agree.
In the slightest. And I think he would tell you that. We don't have an alternate, but I understand, correct me if I'm wrong here, Nancy said if there wasn't an alternate, she would like to be a member.
No, and then she emailed me again and said, never mind, I just want to be an alternate.
Okay,
So if there's none, she doesn't want to be on there.
okay.
That's how I interpret it.
I personally think it's critical. You're missing, no, I personally think it's critical Penny be on the committee. I agree.
Agreed.
Kevin Bunker, I had a long chat with him. I chatted with him about a couple of things, mainly. I wanted to sort of set the record straight with him that I'm not quite as devious as some people think I am in this town. I won't mention any names, but But anyway, so we had a long chat with that, and then at the end of that, I said, now, are you sure you have the time to do this? I mean, this is, you know, you're in Portland and he said, I made a commitment to my mom, I'll make her work. So, I just wanted to pass that on to you, that, and
So he'll be here through the winter. He'll be coming here.
I think he lives in Portland, I don't know, I think he said he might have to zoom in, but, you know, I can't criticize that, I zoom in from Georgia. So, but I just wanted to pass that on.
I think he'd be a good person to have on the committee. Because of his expertise in doing these kinds of jobs.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, I do have a little concern that we have 3 non-residents that are applicants. I don't mind, I don't think you have to be a resident, I'm not saying that, but I don't know if 3 is the appropriate number. And I understand that Fanny, correct me if I'm wrong, is also a current member's spouse.
Who is that?
Fanny, I can't.
Kolonowski.
Oh,
Kolonowski.
Yes.
Which again is not. Not legal or anything, but. I just thought you guys should know that if we're trying to. Pin this down, so. And I think personally, John Coughlin would be a good member,
I agree,
but
again, because he has a lot of experience.
yeah,
John,
but, hang on one second, go ahead.
my understanding was that town committees couldn't have non-residents, and that's been what's gone on for the 40+ years that I've been involved here. But they could be on ad hoc committees, but,
Well, that's what this is.
well, but it, hold on one sec. But this is a town committee, and so a town committee, the auxiliary can be anybody because it's non-town, but a town committee, with my understanding, no non-residents. They're partial residents, but is, and that's always been stated until now. And so I'm just asking for qualifications in that sense, because I think you're opening a door that hasn't been opened before, and I'm concerned on that.
I know there's nothing in statute that prohibits it. I mean, to be on the select board, you had to be a resident, but I think school committee
And planning board.
and maybe the planning board, but I think that's about it from a statutory point of view.
I think we've got 2 planning board members who haven't been resident.
You're right, we did have one
Well,
planning.
maybe it isn't planning board, but I don't think there's any prohibition against it. Our practice has been not to have a lot of non-residents, but we certainly have appointed some are residents. So,
It seems to me that if you're not on the voter list, you don't belong on these committees.
okay. Doesn't seem to me that way, but.
We're looking for expertise.
Right,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, we're looking for expertise.
and some of these people are taxpayers in the town, even if they're not voting residents.
But again, expertise you can call in. You can contract for expertise. You can ask them to come and talk to you. I don't think we're looking for expertise. We're looking for somebody who can guide this committee to give direction to the select board to help them move forward with this project. And I think it means that they have to be able to have the pulse of the town, and they need to understand what the town thinks. More than having expertise in, well, I can hire somebody to do construction or any of the qualifications that are out there.
You don't see any benefit in having people on this committee that are familiar with this kind of a task?
No,
and what
I
you're
didn't, no, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that
That's what it sounds like.
qualifications for getting a whole board of people who understand construction is not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is a committee that can come up with what direction that we should be going in with this project.
Well, more than that, we're looking for
Yeah.
a committee that can plan and fundraise.
Well, fundraising is another big part of it as
Right,
well.
right.
So.
I kind of disagree with you in a sense, because I think, yes, you can hire. We have one conversation, we can hire expertise. But I think it's good when you have experts on the committee that knows, that ask the right questions and probe and push a little. Because that's just been my experience, but.
Yeah, but we don't need half of the committee being those kind of.
No, because I can see that being. But anyways, so did someone have a comment? I thought I heard somebody talking behind you, but, John, okay, yeah, good comment.
I mean, I attended the town meeting, I did not vote, I was not allowed to vote. I've lived in Spruce Head in the summers for 40 years. In the same two streets, Spruce Point, McBride Drive. I've watched the budget meetings. I have tremendous expertise in this in terms of working with the Children's Theater, a Wisconsin Parks Pavilion, all of those. We raised all the money for them, not a dime of taxpayer money. The folk dance camp. I built for the University of Wisconsin with committees at their direction, a very successful project. For the Nature Conservancy, 25 years, they've occupied the same building. All of those require, it's just tremendous amount of expertise to get a project to the right place. I'm saying that I'm not the right person in the same sense that Kevin Bunker is, who has local people that he can call on, design professionals that he can perhaps even ask for consideration to move the project forward. Basically, we need to get the construction drawings. We need focus groups to understand what the people at the center want, what the select board wants. And then we need to get going. By all means, it should take no more than, I'm gonna say, it should take 6 months, it could take a year to get drawings. And then you have what's called a shovel-ready project. Then you can actually go and say, I want to spend the money you're going to perhaps allocate to me. Right now, we don't have a shovel-ready project of any sort, but that's where we have to get to. And I've got to it for the last 40 years without fail, with delivery, on time, on budget, without spending other people's money. So I'm ready to do it, and I'm ready to put up some of my own money to start that process, because we don't, that I'm aware of, we don't have any money to pay people to start the actual process. And so Kevin Bunker is leagues more experienced than I am. If he's not on the committee, I frankly don't think it can succeed. So anyway, that's my opinion.
Okay, what do you guys want to do? We can kick this around, we can appoint everybody, we can keep it at 7, we can reduce the number, we can. I guess there's nothing saying we even have to keep the 4 that are on there.
John, well, if we're gonna have 9, there's 4 on there, you can add 5.
And that's my recommendation, so we pick 5.
Okay,
So we have.
you have a comment?
Is everybody who would like to be on the committee, have they said that they were willing to go with a hybrid solution? Is that a question that needs to be asked?
I don't know that. I know someone who said that he's not willing to.
But they don't want it, but they do want it?
I'm sorry,
I know one who said he's not willing to. But I think we sort of discarded, not discarded, poor choice of word. So,
But John, in the past, I mean, when you first hired the members of the facilities committee, that was a test that people had to kind of swear that they were in favor of a new building. So why not do it now in favor of a hybrid solution that might save, fruitless discussions for a few sessions?
well,
Good point.
you can do that if you want. So I don't know if everyone's here. I don't think Kevin Bunker's here.
No.
Well, we know he is though.
Yeah, my
I
sense
know
he
that.
was,
Yeah,
conceptually supportive of it. I don't think he.
and we know John is,
Yeah, I think.
and we know Penny
John
is.
Pardon?
We know that Penny's in favor of that.
conceptually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't clear when you and I talked, so that's three.
John, I have a question, can I just, can
Yeah.
you say conceptual, she was on the original facilities committee and resigned, so is she, I guess I'm confused in what she stated then. Is she going ahead with this, or?
I can't speak for her, but,
She's right here.
well, I know, but, if she wants to speak to that, she can, but I don't wanna get into a back and forth, so, you wanna speak to that?
I'm willing to look at this as an option.
But you're not in favor.
Well, I think that the facilities committee is at a point where we need to explore this further, as Kevin recommended, we need to have an architect tell us what is feasible, not feasible at this point.
But if it came to the having the hybrid,
Yeah.
you're okay with
Yeah.
that? And you would work,
Trusting
and you would work toward that,
the expertise of the
Yeah.
people we're working with.
right?
And I think too, we gotta remember, the controversy here has never been about, I'm gonna start calling it a multi-purpose room, not a meeting room. That's never been the controversy. I mean, right since the get-go, people have been strongly in favor of a multi-purpose room in almost all the surveys and focus groups. And the controversy has been whether to renovate the existing building or not. Whoops, sorry. My call is blown off. So, Lynn is here.
Hello.
You on board with the concept?
I am, and I feel the same way. I'll follow John's lead and the architects and
And Maureen is here. Are you on board with the conceptually the?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Virginia Slauson, are you on board with that?
I am.
Okay. And Denise, not here?
Not here tonight.
I don't know if she is or isn't. See, the problem is some people sent us quite a bit of information. Some people basically said, I want to be on the committee.
Right.
So. And Paul DiMaggio, I think, is here.
Yes,
Are
I
you
missed
on-
part of it.
Are you on, we're sort of going down through all the applicants and trying to determine if they're at least conceptually on board with the idea of, the hybrid proposal, for lack of a better word.
I think it was a great idea and I've been doing my homework.
Okay,
he loves home.
so I would say everybody is, with the exception of who wasn't here? Virginia.
Denise.
Oh, okay, sorry, Denise. And
And Fanny,
who?
Fanny, the one on the bottom.
Oh, is Fanny here?
No, she's not,
Okay,
but I can say as of dinner that she was in support of the hybrid model.
as of dinner. Does anybody, well, I shouldn't ask anybody to speak to Denise, that's not right, so,
John,
yes.
this way. Could I just make a suggestion that if we have this many people that are interested, that we do appoint alternates? Because things are gonna happen to people, and this is an important project. And they're not gonna be able to vote unless somebody's out, but they should be able to attend the meeting or Zoom it or whatever, and that way they can keep on track of it, but I think we should have alternates. We got the people that are interested.
Yeah, I personally don't favor that for,
Why?
well, I'm gonna tell you. Because I think that can change the dynamics of the discussion depending on who's sitting there. And on the planning board and the appeals board, we have the alternates, but the main reason is if someone has a conflict of interest or something like that, so. No, personally, I'd rather expand the committee by 2 members and just, either you're in or you're out, but that's just my feeling. But.
John, actually,
Go ahead.
another idea was, your original idea was to have a building committee and a fundraising committee, and, the committee could break into 2 pieces in terms of the focus and meet together in that way, and that would be really important for writing grants, I think, to have some people focused on fundraisers, capital campaign, et cetera, and grant writing.
And when you're talking now like 4 years ago, or 3 years ago.
Yeah, a long time
Yeah,
ago.
okay.
That was the original idea. It looks like there's enough people to do that.
But we have I don't know where to go. I'm at a loss for words and I really am.
Well, I think we appoint five people and go on from there.
And they can always come back to us and say, we'd like to expand the committee and split into 2 subgroups. Because they're related, but they're 2 very different skill sets, tasks. One is planning and designing. So,
I would make a motion to appoint John Kochel, Lynn Tootle, Penny Alley, Kevin Bunker, and Maureen Spencer.
I'll second that.
again, sorry.
John Kochel, first one. In the middle, Lynn Tootle, Penny Alley, Kevin Bunker, and Maureen Spencer.
And you seconded it?
Yes.
Discussion? All those in favor? Now, I just want to say one thing, that doesn't, in my mind, that does not prohibit the committee from coming back to us and saying, we're making good progress, but we really need maybe 2 more members to break down into 2 committees or whatever. I mean, we get some flexibility here. It's got to find itself.
And it also does not stop anybody from attending the meetings or even participating as the chair would allow.
Right. And that brings me to another point. We have nobody to call a meeting, so I would entertain a motion that the town clerk be authorized to call a meeting within 7 days, if possible. And prepare and post the initial agenda. So.
Seconded.
And while we're on that, whoever assumes chair of this is gonna have to understand posting requirements and minute requirements, because this is a town committee and FOA, you can't be talking together about this. Outside of a meeting, there's all kinds of limitations now if you're on this committee. That you can't be discussing, probably ought to have an initial little FOA training at the first meeting. Yeah. And anything you write on your computer about this is subject to the open meeting law, so if you don't want your computer being in the court, maybe you don't put it on your personal computer or. So if there, do we vote on that? We have a motion to have Hannah.
No, we didn't.
We just, okay. It seems to me Hannah should just try to find that when as many people. Because 9's a big committee, can meet, and then if you got 7 or 8, that's what it's gonna be. So, Maureen, one more.
I just have have a question. Consider meeting here, could we meet at the library since this is an actual library committee?
You can meet
More
any,
people go there?
you can meet any way you wanna meet, as long as it's,
Well, I'm telling her, if she's gonna direct us to go somewhere, then she needs to know.
yeah. Yeah, you can meet. Yeah, but you gotta Zoom them though,
Yeah.
because we have people. that
Oh, they
Zoom.
have a,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, I. Personally, I would prefer that the first one be here, and then you guys as a committee decide where you wanna meet. Because Hannah's gonna have to be at that first one, and that doesn't take her out of the office, so. If that would be. Yeah, okay. And then the committee just can decide where it wants to meet, as long as it's publicly accessible. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, Hannah, so you know what you gotta do?
Adjust.
Okay,
Just wanna add, I think we skipped a couple things at the beginning.
oh, with it.
Like,
May
to approve the minutes, we skipped A, which is Mako seafood.
yeah, I know, I was gonna go back to those, we can go back now, all right, so let's do the minutes.
John, I had the Jaws thing to do.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were on.
Yes, maybe you were gonna, I talked to you about it.
You don't think I can remember, you didn't. talk-
I said, I didn't know that. I
I'm
swear.
sorry. You know, I don't even remember talking to you about it, so. But why don't you go first then, sorry.
So we have an old set of Jaws of Life.
Oh, I do remember you talking.
Yeah. You left my office, it was gonna go tell Hannah. It was on the agenda.
She was on the phone.
Anyway, so we have an old set of Jaws of Life on our old utility. Our new utility is in Brunswick right now. We're going down Thursday to do inspection on it. The old Jaws, we discussed it with the officers on whether we want to sell them or try to find someone that would accept a donation of them. And the Midco School of Technology has a pilot program up there that would love to have a working set of Jaws for the students. So I'm coming to you to see if I could get permission to donate all of our Jaws equipment to our old Jaws equipment to the Midco School of Technology.
Can I ask what would be the sort of open market value of it?
Looking online, could be 2,000 to 4,000.
Okay.
That's if they're even selling for that. I mean, that's what around there is what they're there for a price that they're asking.
Okay, that's close.
Yeah, and this Jaws came with the truck when we purchased it, so it's kind of like a benefit for us anyway. You know, they don't owe us anything.
The motion?
Yeah, I move we authorize the fire chief to donate the Jaws of Life and equipment, the old Jaws of Life. Equipment, to the Midco School of Technology.
For a second,
I'll second that.
further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Sorry about that, Dave.
That's all right.
I just completely slipped my mind. There was something negative in the back of my mind, but. All right, minutes. I actually have a couple of, yes,
Did you have an update on the main coast, like?
yeah, I'm gonna get to that after the minute.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have much of an update, so. Okay, we have two sets of minutes, right?
Yeah.
The 18th and the 27th. Well, let's take a motion for the 18th, because I have a few proposed edits on the 27th, so. There a motion to approve the 18th?
I move we approve the minutes from June 18th.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? So, on the next set of minutes, on Article H, or not Article H. 7H. Third paragraph. It says spear moved and no seconded. I think there's a word motion mission there, I think it should say a motion. Or take the A out or something, it just doesn't read right.
Yeah, a motion, maybe
Yeah,
a motion.
I think. And I think the letters were supposed to go out to the existing facility committee members, not the auxiliary members. Down in the fourth paragraph. And then, after certain in the next sentence, by a date certain, it needs something there like, you know, if they intend to remain on the committee or something like that. It doesn't really complete the thought. Follow me?
Yeah, see that.
Well, so with those proposed changes, is there a motion to approve?
I move we approve the minutes from June 27th as edited.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? You got all that here?
I did.
Okay. And now we're going to May first. Well, sorry, all those in favor? Trying to move.
I know.
Okay, update on court action regarding Maine Coast Seafood. Anna, you have something to read from our code enforcement officer, is that correct?
I will say she is here, but I will read it, I guess.
Well, then she can add to it.
Kristen did email her back. She requested the notice of violation and proof of mailing that Perry sent, which she has sent to her. She said that she had no one to serve at the moment, but Wig is indicating that he is hiring an attorney, which Kristen says will be tremendously helpful because it will give us someone reasonable and with authority to talk to instead of just going to Wig. And it will give us someone to serve. She has not sent me the complaint yet. I do not know when she plans on doing it. Filing it. This is cursive. She had mentioned Monday afternoon or Tuesday, but I have not heard any more. That's all we have.
So as I understand it, the property is assessed and we have a record on it as Maine Coast Seafood. But that corporation had dissolved and dissolved many years ago.
Right.
So there's, as far as we know, there's no owner. So that's why she's having trouble figuring out who to serve it to.
Who pays the taxes?
One of the Athena's brothers, I believe.
One of Anthony.
Anthony.
But we can never get in touch with him.
And he paid the last one on the day before it foreclosed. Terry, do you have anything to add? You don't have to.
She definitely doesn't want to.
I guess not.
Because this is not my job anymore.
Well,
I couldn't unmute myself. Hannah did a great job. I have nothing to add.
So this saga continues to drag on and on and on.
You have a hand in there.
Right, yeah.
I've walked the property and it is a saga. The most pressing thing is the tank, and the diesel pumps that are loose out on the end of the dock. The tank shows approximately 1,500 gallons of diesel.
By the gauge.
By the gauge, we have to believe the gauge, unless somebody goes and measures it. I think, John, you said that the tank is not contained properly. I mean, that's a violation in itself. And if you follow the pipe from the tank to the pump, you'll be aghast. It is totally gone.
Yeah.
And the hoses are hanging in the water every day.
And we called DEP. I believe, Terry, you still there? No?
I am.
Okay, we called DEP about the tank and you got virtually no help from them, right?
No, I got to run around about 5 different agencies.
So we need a practical approach to this problem, if you ask me. And my understanding in talking to some fishermen in the community is that Matt Green is the organizer of the fishermen, and may have purchased the fuel in the tank. He would be a person to start with. The immediate need is to get the fuel out of the tank. It's simple. It could be pumped out next week. It is a total hazard. As I'm sure the fire department would agree, and nobody wants to respond to a leak there. So the fuel is worth something to somebody who owns it, and it can be pumped out.
Yeah, it's just a matter of.
But the town can't legally do that.
Town can't just go in on the
No, but
property.
can we
and pump it.
ask? Matt, if
Building
it is,
inspector
if
can
he can do
order-
that?
But any fire department can order a hazardous condition to be reduced.
Oh, yeah,
And
but you can't do it
we
yourself.
can, no, but we can, as individuals, as town people, go to our neighbors and say, is this your fuel or whose is it? And I mean, I went to a proud member of the fishing community, and he said that maybe you should talk to Matt Green.
Well, he had a bunch of traps there and he got rid of them.
Okay, but he could lead us to a solution.
And then who was the other person that had traps there?
Somebody
Bobby Barner.
and or delivered that fuel.
Somebody's got a beaten up ex-U-Haul truck in there and all the stuff.
That's Jameson, isn't it?
Yeah,
Jameson.
Isn't that
that's
Jameson?
Davidson.
Yeah. That sounds like it's running on one
I don't
cylinder.
think Jameson bought the
It
fuel.
belongs to J.D. Neeson.
Yeah, it looks like it's in a little bit.
It's just a practical suggestion to eliminate possible.
But I think we gotta get DEP involved. And maybe go to our state legislator.
So
senator.
you don't think we could just call Matt and ask him if it's his, and would he be willing to have it pumped out? He'd get his money back.
I've got a problem with that. I mean, that could be facilitating stuff. We're going through the legal system. That's the obligation of the select board. We are not a posse or a group of folks going out and capturing the castle.
You were in charge of the fire department, the code enforcement officer, and those.
And we have legal steps to go through, and we have a lawyer who is working the issue. And when she gets it to the judge, and the judge says, now you can go in and take action, then we can take action. But until that tank's been sitting there for what, 15 years?
25.
Okay.
But it wasn't the hoses weren't in the water and circumstances changed. But I do agree with you, but I think I think DEP has to get involved, and I think if
Well, I don't disagree with
we
that.
put pressure on our representative and our state senator, something maybe can get done.
Yes,
And
Sick Ann and.
I'd be happy to call in.
DEP.
I'd be happy to call in. I need to be sitting with Terry because I want to be able to explain what the runaround means. But I'd be happy to do that and call Penny too.
Yeah, I think that's the right.
Because I'm worried about the tank. And I want to clear one thing. I didn't say that it wasn't enclosed properly. I just said it wasn't enclosed. I don't know that it needs to be enclosed.
Containment requires.
I don't know.
And we have a code enforcement officer.
I was surprised when I only saw 3 sides to the cement.
It does need to have 4 sides. I mean, I even know that.
Huh?
I even know that has to have 4 sides to be.
Well, I don't
contained.
know that.
No, that's not
Yeah, I don't
necessarily
think
true.
that's necessarily.
Yes, it is.
If it's got a double wall, then the containment is one thing. If it has cement below it with a drain possibility on it, that could be containment. There are many ways you can contain tanks. And for us, any of us in this room to say what the containment requirements on there, it is jumping ahead of our headlights. DEP is who's responsible for that. They need to be accountable for it and go take a look at it. I don't want the fire department going there and saying, oh, I think this is a hazard and hauling it off. Because that puts the town in jeopardy of any kind of liability associated with it.
I'll call that Green and ask them if it's his.
But what do you mean? Call anybody and they say, oh, there's some gallons of gas that I can claim, that you're telling me I can go claim because I say it's mine? That's inappropriate. It's not on his property. It is not his tank. It belongs to somebody and the last I heard, we're not a kingdom where we go rushing into people's yards and steal their stuff. Regardless of what it is, there are processes, there are laws, there are ways of doing it. And right now, the town is doing it the appropriate way. We're not gonna call somebody in to go do a, what was the word you use, a practical solution? We need a legal solution as a town.
We did call and ask them to come move their traps.
Yeah, but that's because we knew they
That
were
was more of a favor, and we knew that the traps were tagged with their name. And we were afraid they were gonna get hung up in the middle of a legal suit, so we were kind of doing them a favor.
Right.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, I agree. And there's legalities about even moving tracks that belong to somebody else. So it has to be the person who owns it.
Yeah, I know. So, okay, let's move on. We got a couple of avenues to work on.
I had a question. Just a suggestion, but it has been suggested that perhaps the fuel has been purchased by this Matt Reed or whatever his name is. What about approaching him and say, it has been suggested that perhaps you own this oil. In that case, have you got perhaps a bill of sale that could demonstrate that you bought it? At which point you'd have a way to proceed.
I'm not even convinced of that, because now we've got to authorize them to go on the property, take it out of the tank.
No, step one is.
So if somebody has a claim to the property, they talk to the lawyer. This is in the hands of the lawyers. I'm not willing to go in.
Yeah, I'm very reluctant. Although, yeah, I know, and DEP, I think is the route to go. They're responsible for this, in my mind. And we'll lean on them. Do it tomorrow, no, Thursday. Okay. I know it's frustrating. Okay. Hannah, have I caught up everything now?
I believe so.
Huh?
Yes.
All right, so let's go to request of Penny Alley on behalf of the Community Resilience Committee to use solar rebate money for the use of ground cover and fence installation for the lots. Now, this is around the solar panels, I'm assuming.
No, it might be done by now, but it still is not completed.
I just got an email today. They're gonna do it tomorrow at 8 AM.
Wow.
He said, sorry for the long pause.
Okay, great. There is a rebate. And I forgot my device. I think it's 13, almost $14,000. Yes, the bid is, John pointed out, we won't know it, but the final cost is until the project is completely get built. But we were wondering if some of that money could be dedicated to doing weed barrier, crushed rock, and professional installation of the fencing, which we own, because I don't know that any of us really know how to install the chain link fence enough. Maybe we don't need that, but there are two sides to these panels, and so we don't have to mow under the 34 large panels, and we don't want goats, and we can no livestock. If we put reflective, crushed rock under it, it can actually reflect light into the back of these panels and collect even more energy that way.
How much, do you know how much money we're talking, just roughly?
About 14,000 as
To do the work, not the rebate.
no, I asked you if I should have numbers and you said no, because the job wasn't done. I'm guessing much less than that.
Yeah, well, I just, and I still say that, I don't think we should hire someone to do this until we got a bill, we know exactly how much it is, in case there's some changes or something. And two, we actually got the rebate in here. And I don't know how long that will take. Or at least a letter assuring that we're gonna
But
get it or
the
something
state-
like.
the state rebate.
Be fairly quickly.
Yeah,
We're still waiting on our tennis money out here from the feds. So I don't have an issue with that at all. I think that's a good use of the rebate money. Can I ask, was there, did the resiliency committee talk about other plans for that money before, or is that really the only thing that's come up for?
at this point. This is our next, something we have to accomplish.
Yeah.
We can get some volunteer labor to spread rock. Spread weed barrier,
Yeah,
plant the flower beds, all that stuff. But, and I would like to have it happen soon as everything's up and running, because we don't want kids playing under them.
so is there a motion to authorize this up to a certain amount, or just whatever it is, as long as it doesn't exceed the rebate amount, or?
That's what I'm.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't think it will come anywhere near that, but, yeah. So, motion?
I move that we authorize Penny to engage a fencer and some landscapers to put in some landscaping and some fencing around the solar panels.
Well, I think we can do the landscaping, but the fencing is what concerns me, that's
And
the,
you're gonna buy the rock.
You know,
Right.
rock.
Yeah.
Right, so any of the costs associated with it.
okay.
And it be funded from the rebate, so not to exceed the amount of the rebate.
With the understanding that we're not gonna do it until we are 100% certain the rebate is coming our way, correct? Yeah, that doesn't have to be part of the motion. Right. Yeah. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Sally, did you have something? Did you wanna add something?
No, I think you, it seems to me that it more or less belongs to the project. The rebate.
Okay, all right, I just thought I heard you say something, so I just wanted to give you a chance to comment. Okay, all those in favor? All right, sign certificate of settlement between the former and current tax collector. Is there a motion to sign a certificate of settlement between, is the taping person on by the way? No. I thought Laurie,
No. Her name was Liz. I don't know if she had a different Zoom name.
okay, well,
As far as I know, I don't see anybody.
I'm not sure who Laurie was, that's why I was. Okay. Is there a motion to execute the the certificate of settlement between the former and current tax collector?
And so you're doing both at the same time, right? So my motion would be that the board sign the certificate of settlement with the former tax collector and the recommitment of the taxes to the current tax collector.
So we're gonna do both I and J in one motion? I think so. Okay,
I'll second that.
all those in favor? Aye. Okay, Anna, you're responsible now.
Oh my gosh. I do have the to be signed ones here. You want to do Dan? Don't sign your copies.
We have two people for the legislative policy committee, and we have two seats. Is there a motion to vote for one from Camden? Assessor of the towns of Camden Rockport, and one is Kara George, town manager in Thomas, who used to be a South Thomas.
Yeah, they did. Make a motion that we nominate Gary Leakman, is that how you say that?
Well, actually, we're not nominating.
Oh,
Well,
vote for,
voting on it,
vote
right?
for.
Yeah.
Gary Leakman and Kara George for the legislative policy committee member.
And I take it you decided against
Yeah,
it.
I did. I withdrew my.
Okay, second,
Yes.
Okay, further discussion, all those in favor? Consider a nominee for, Ethel N. Kelly Memorial Award. I can only think of one person who might be a candidate for that in the town.
Yeah, me too.
Not mention any names.
Is she still on?
She's still on
I
it.
can kick her off.
Huh?
I can kick her off.
She'd probably be embarrassed if we did it, so. Is there much paperwork to fill out for this?
Nope, just
Cause she's not worth too much paperwork.
this page with name, length of service.
Jobs she did and stuff. What,
Oh, no, she didn't leave with us.
huh?
Yeah, what she did. When she retired.
Well, I make a motion, we nominate Terry Banks.
I second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? So Hannah, not to give you something else to do, but can you fill that out to the, or give it to Terry and have her?
Well, can I add to it, because it looks like one signature, right? And authorize the chair to sign a nomination.
Oh, okay,
So just want to add that
friendly amendment,
friendly amendment.
yes. So is there a friendly second? All in favor? Okay. So acknowledgement of the RSU 13 tax assessment. Nothing we can do about this other than pay it. But it's big.
Not as big as I thought it was gonna be.
I know,
And it's
And I'm
actually
actually-
less than what it was.
but it still it counts for about, what, 70% of our taxes, a little more. So do we want to acknowledge, does everybody have it? I don't have it in front of me. It's due somewhere, but
Good.
just acknowledge, read off what it is, the amount, total amount. I don't know what, I had it, I don't know what happened, but
This is sort of like a 3% increase.
no, it's actually a decrease.
From last year. Oh, it is. Wait. Can't even see. Oh,
$3,684,330.97.
Again, that's about 70% of the property tax, we collect maybe a little more. Okay. And we have nothing to say about it. Discuss reevaluation and request for proposals. I was thinking, rather than going through and writing down a proposal request, which I've just been doing on the snowplow, it seems like it takes forever. I wouldn't mind just maybe seeing if we can get a couple of companies to come and sit and talk with us.
Yeah, see how.
See what their schedule is, see if they're willing to talk with us. I think my sense is, talking to Terry and now a little bit Hannah, that we would like to get away from vision and the two sets of databases. And if they do a reval, you have to use their system, as I understand it. And it probably would involve in buying the Trio package. But we give up, we're paying for the vision package now, so I'm assuming they would roughly.
Are we paying for it?
Yeah, I think so. Terry, don't we pay for a fee to Trio every year? I mean, division?
Division?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. So I'm assuming they would somewhat offset each other, if not exactly, then at least maybe in the neighborhood. But what do you think of that approach?
Yeah,
Cause I don't wanna write another request for a proposal.
right. And really, both of them that they've looked at are about the same cost.
Yeah, they're not very
Yeah.
far apart.
And what we're more interested in is, can they do it in 26 or do we have to wait to 27?
And what is their approach and.
Right, and how do they bring the town into it and all?
Well, what, should we do that at a special workshop type meeting?
yeah,
I would like to, yeah, maybe like 4 in the afternoon or something, or.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'll try to work with Hannah to set up something in the next month or so. I'm gonna be out of town a little bit the next few weeks, I mean, not a lot, but like 2 days here and 3 days here and. Okay. And. What's next? Monthly reports. Excellent code officer report again. Any questions, comments on,
I did add just in the smaller packets, David's report.
Yeah, I
Because he
saw
did give
that.
it to me late.
yeah, I saw that. Okay, donations. We have a $500 donation from John and Leslie Spear to assist with payments for architectural services for the repurposed LLC Facilities Committee.
I move we accept John's generous offer of $500.
And Leslie.
And my. I will second that. To the LCC facilities. Thank you.
Yeah, all those further, you seconded it, right, Sue?
Yes.
Further discussion, all those in favor? I'll abstain here.
And I asked the question about previous donations that they had to fill out the form. And I wondered if we could ask the people that donated that said only for new, if they want it back, or I mean, what?
Well, the only one we have left is that we only had 2 donations to the town, I believe. Terry might be able to help me on this. One was Andrews, and I think that's gone. That was his $800 tax rebate. And then Sherry and Cliff donated to the town for sort of their contribution, for lack of a better word, to for her being an auxiliary board member. I think some of that's gone too. I could be wrong about that,
But is
but
it
that could be.
earmarked for only building new, or?
Well, it was at the time, because that's what we were doing.
But remember the receipt that people,
Yeah, I'd have to look at that, I
and
don't
can
know.
we change that now, the receipt?
I think we can, we'll have to dust it off and take a peek at it, yeah. But I don't think we could, personally, I think we would need permission from Cliff and Sherry to repurpose that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Which I don't,
I just wondered if they
Would
were
be an issue,
with that
probably.
because of
I mean, he's
the
very,
Conservation Commission went back and said,
yeah,
the money you gave to purchase the land, can we keep it and use it for?
Right.
something else?
yeah. So would you remind me to take a look at that, Hannah?
Yep.
John?
Just a question about your donation. You're saying you went to the town, which, thank you. Should you go to the auxiliary committee? Are they the finance people?
No, I don't want to donate to the auxiliary.
Okay. Well, I think I would want to donate to the auxiliary, then that raises the question of how does the auxiliary committee pay out as the facilities committee incurs expenses?
Through the town.
Yeah, we've done, the auxiliary's done things a couple of ways, but before having any insurance, we were giving everything to the town and letting the town engage or buy the product or whatever. Since we got insurance, we did make some direct purchases. The auxiliary made some direct purchases themselves. I don't know where the demarcating line was and when, but we can look at that. But if you donate to the auxiliary, then the money comes under the control of the auxiliary. If you donate to the town, then it's under control of the town. I mean, that's obviously the simplest differential, but.
So the auxiliary for anything for the new building, the auxiliary would transfer the money to the town for for the contracting and all of that.
Right.
But the auxiliary functions and does things, administrative things, spends money on its own that may not be benefit to
What
the
you
town.
wanna spend it for.
Right.
For example, the auxiliary was going, we were in the process of purchasing some simple, minor example, but letterhead and stuff like that. I think we'll probably put that on hold now, because I think we're gonna be dormant for a little bit here probably, but there's an example, you gotta spend money to raise money.
And there's still an issue with the tasking or the bylaws currently that they have.
Yeah, I didn't really read that in the bylaw. Does somebody have a copy of it? It says shall raise money for a building and the site of the Guilford Butler School.
Right.
Yeah, I tend to agree with John, although Sherry, who's a lawyer, tends to agree with you.
All right, well, you better decide what's appropriate, because
Well, we will, I mean, this is all very new, I mean,
yeah, I grant it.
Yeah.
But once the facilities committee does its outreach and decides on a program for the multi-purpose rooms and the renovation of the school, what is the program that's necessary? They will want to hire an architect at some cost. Possibly, we'll be judicious about it. We'll want to get as far.
Remember, we said that the committee should be split in two, because one side of it should be the fundraising portion of it.
I think we've already split it. We have the auxiliary.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That's not, no, it's different. It's not a town function.
So the auxiliary.
It is
gonna
a
cease to
town,
exist as far
it
as
is
fundraising
dedicated
goes?
to the purposes and services of the town, period.
Right, but the auxiliary can make decisions about the money it raises, and it has made decisions about it, so.
Right.
Within the meaning of the town warrants.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but Penny, you know,
Does the
how do we get on this? I thought we were done. I thought we were done.
donations, and some people
Oh, donations.
want to give to the auxiliary for their tax
Yeah.
purposes, some people
But-
want to give to the town,
But they're both tax deductible.
they are.
Yeah.
I know, but that's why the auxiliary was formed, because there were people and foundations that will only
Right.
give to the 501c3. What I wondered is, do the bylaws still reflect that any changes must come through the select board
Yes,
for approval
Yeah.
before?
yes.
And will the auxiliary be purposed to say, now we're gonna look for grants and,
I'm waiting for the auxiliary to come back and tell us that.
Yeah, and I think the auxiliary, I mean, the way it was working in the past is the facilities committee. Let's just take it very simple, they wanted to hire an architect, so they came to the auxiliary committee. And the auxiliary committee, if I recall, donated money to the town. For the cost of the hiring of an architect, and the town actually hired the architect, but the auxiliary. So I see the same thing happen in the facilities committee coming and saying, we're working on this. Can you help us auxiliary fund this, or, in addition to the bigger picture, some little stuff to move along, but.
but as far as seeking the grant that can only be sought after from the foundations or the peoples that will only give
Yeah,
to the 501.
then they would have to go to the auxiliary.
Right, and is the auxiliary going to write those grants and pursue those
Well, I think that's-
opportunities?
I think that's yet to be determined. I mean, hopefully. Go ahead.
Just backing up a tiny bit, the letter request for interest on the facilities committee focused much more on the actual facility as opposed to fundraising. I think I read it as having a very distinct, when you were asking if there was interest, the people who were applied, was their interest in the hybrid concept. And my thinking was, the letter made that quite clear, that you were already interested in the hybrid concept before you were applying for a position on the seat.
But not, that wasn't necessarily true.
Yeah, there was one person who wasn't interested at all.
Well, then, yes,
Yeah.
we're not talking.
But they
about that.
volunteered. They volunteered to be on the
They
committee.
applied.
But they, so.
Judge, based on the spirit of the letter, I think that was, you know, probably displaced interest on that person's part. The 501, as my understanding, is primarily in existence as a conduit for grant reception of grant monies, which makes perfect sense to me.
The only issue is the legal issue within the bylaws. Because it was established based on the previous votes that said build a new building. And the language in it, the original bylaws, and as a matter of fact, even the modified bylaws, still can be interpreted, and the lawyer that they have hired has interpreted the bylaws to indicate it's for a new building. So if we're going to use it for a different purpose, then that entity has to say, we are recommending these changes to the bylaws to allow us to use money for renovation and additions. But right now, that's not what it says. And the lawyer that they have hired has indicated that it right now is for a new building on the site of the Guilford Butler School.
We didn't hire one.
Well, so the lawyer, all right, the lawyer that's helping you. And until that's resolved, I personally wouldn't want to give any money to this organization until they figure out whether or not what they raise can be used for the purpose that the town now is heading.
So the auxiliary is to be determined.
Correct. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
exactly what John said.
it's in a state of flux. I mean, the day after town meeting, I think, and I don't want to speak for people, but everybody, including myself, were ready to just quit. I mean, why bang my head against the wall for the last 2 years? And then like I said, 10 minutes later, I said, no, that's not in the best interest of the town, and I've tried to get others to just stay on, at least until we can maybe get that committee new members or something. I don't know. I mean, we don't know yet.
Now, the select board has, the auxiliary has to bring bylaw changes to the select board, and the select board asks them to consider bylaw changes.
Sure, they can ask them. They don't have to do it, but.
If someone wanted to donate and wanted to make sure that it was gonna go to the purpose of the new mission, can they donate to the town specifying that and just
Absolutely.
not have anything to do with the 501(c)(3)?
Yeah, remember, the 501(c)(3) is to go after funds that the town can't go after.
Yeah, that was the main purpose to begin
Okay.
with. There's a lot of grants that won't give to entities that have taxing authority.
But there is a member who pledged the money and was willing to donate either way for renovation or building new, but they needed to get to a 501 because of it was stock options and things like that. So does that person, can that person still donate that money to the auxiliary
Yeah.
for renovation?
I think they could, and they could put strings on it and say, I want this to donate to the auxiliary, and I would like you to,
And auxiliary can.
to assist the
accept,
facilities, yeah, and to assist the facilities committee with expenses they might have.
And they can accept it without changes to their bylaw.
Well,
It'll force a decision
Yeah, I
because.
think that's still being debated.
Yeah, so if somebody said that, here's the strings that I want to apply to it, and they determine it doesn't meet the bylaws, it forces them to change the bylaws or not take the money.
But anybody can give money with strings attached.
Yeah, you
I mean,
can do that anytime.
I'll give it to you for this purpose.
And then the receiving side says, I can't accept those strings, or I can,
Oh, I can.
which is what the town gives the authority to to the select board every year to accept strings or not accept.
Okay, so we need to schedule meetings, right?
Correspondence.
There's two
You still have two
correspondence.
correspondence.
I have one more tangential question involved in boards. The 501 as a 501(c)(3, does It's a question regarding board insurance. If a facilities committee is an ad hoc committee within the town, I'm thinking of the municipal association covers that sort of stuff. Well, what about 501?
No, and we had to buy something.
Oh, okay, so
There's a separate legal entity.
that's a discussion that.
We can sue and be sued and just like any private corporation. So that's why we didn't want to engage anybody until we had insurance. Just in case something went south. So,
Good.
okay, correspondence. I put my agenda away.
KRC, says KRCC, but it's really Knox County has a new administrator. It says interim. It's a new county administrator, took over a month ago.
Who is it? Anybody want to know?
Lance Govang.
Thank you all.
Thank
He has had no municipal experience, but he has a lot of business experience. And he's doing a great job.
All right.
But I think the purpose of the letter was to say, Knox County Communications Center is now fully manned. Well, I take that back. They still have a couple of them, but they have projected hires. They can't bring the new hires in until they get the previous one changed. They can't have too many people in training. So they're phasing in the hires of them. But they're now doing all of the E911 dispatching. So they're now an up and running call center. They're back. Morale's a lot better.
Good.
All the problems.
Okay.
And they're just threw money at it. And the sheriff's department corrections. A lot of money.
And the other letter is, sorry, I put my agenda, it's buried in here.
Greens of Elder Care, a nonprofit home that provides living assistance.
Looking for a donation.
Looking for a donation.
Okay.
And so.
And we don't do that here. There should be a letter that Terry can probably give you, dust it off, change the name and just say, it does give them an out. It says they could get a petition.
Right.
But no one's ever done that. So.
They're also in Lincoln County.
Yeah, that's everything too.
They're not even in Knox County.
Well, they may serve people from Warren or something like.
I don't know.
I don't even. Okay, meetings,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're about to wrap up, I think. And I've had a question in the chat for quite a while, but I didn't know how to interrupt you. On the subject of Maine Coast Seafoods, could you tell me what the town lawyer has been tasked to do?
In a word, get it cleaned up.
She's going to the court.
Yeah, she's gonna file a lawsuit against them.
And looking for the judge to say, okay, town, you can clean it up.
Well, I guess as part of that, is the lawyer also tasked to research the title? You referred to the fact that Maine Coast Seafood as a title seems to no longer be viable. And it was my sense that it was a wholly owned subsidiary of the Athena's operation. Is the lawyer tasked to go back and search the title?
I don't think we gave her specific instructions. I think we just basically told her to use her professional judgment to get it cleaned up, and she came back with her recommendation. We voted to support that. So I don't know if she's done it. I know she's consulting with some of their corporate lawyers because this is because of the situation, but beyond that, I don't know any more details.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that a deed search would find, what she's trying to find is the entity that no longer exists, who the remnants are that are still representing that.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I'm interested because I and my neighbors are essentially abutters. And it's both of short-term and long-term interest. as an issue. So your charge to her is quite open-ended?
No, no, I wouldn't say it's open-ended, it's basically, let's do what we need to do to get it cleaned up. We're not looking at a long-term. I don't know what you mean by long-term, but.
Oh, well, by long-term, I mean, it's ultimate use and disposition, which isn't to the point tonight, but when you say you asked the lawyer to get it cleaned up.
What we tasked the lawyer with doing is filing on the town's behalf with a judge to authorize the town to take further action to get it cleaned up.
Yeah,
That's
and then we would have to pay for it, and then we would put a lien, the town would put a lien on the property. Is my understanding. Correct.
Okay.
She's trying to get a expedited order for that, but she's having trouble figuring out who to serve.
Well, exactly. and
she's working on that, and what the details of what she's working on that, I don't know.
I see. I'm unfamiliar with your process with lawyers. Do you have an upset price for her work, or do you have was this just completely open-ended?
We pay her for her hours.
We pay her for her hours. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm sure she would, in the past, if she would come back to us and say, oh, this is gonna be really expensive, you sure you wanna pursue this? You know, she's been very reasonable in that regard, so we've had a long relationship with her, so.
Okay. Is there any time frame attached to her tasks?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, as soon as possible. Which hasn't been very soon.
No. I see. All right. Well, thank you, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I don't know how, did you see how her with her hand up?
No, I didn't even see a chat
Okay.
until she said that.
Oh, okay. All right, so now we're back to. What do I look calendar? You know, I can't do these meetings for much more than 2 hours.
We're right at 2, so.
I know, I start just losing focus. Okay, so when are we meeting again? The 6th?
Normally it'd be the 13th.
Okay. I have the snowplow bids due in my draft on the 31st. Could we maybe see about that? I'm expanding the agenda of our little workshop. Is there any way we maybe could meet on the week of the 5th, 6th, or 7th and deal with that, as well as maybe sit down with the revale companies? Does anybody have some available dates there? I happen to be wide open now.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm okay on Monday, but that's a problem. I'm okay on Thursday as well.
Okay.
The 8th would be good.
All right, will we tentatively schedule something for the 8th?
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And because it's this is totally my fault, but it's starting to get late, believe it or not. I hate to say winter's coming, but but if you're gonna buy sand and salt and mix it and truck it and put it up and all right.
And I don't have you seen any of them back yet?
I haven't got it out yet.
Oh.
Hopefully tomorrow, right?
You be prepared.
Yeah, well, I know.
County went out and ended up rejecting all the bids because they were significantly higher than what they expected, so they had to redo the whole package. trying to save a few thousand here.
Yeah, I don't know how we can.
I know.
I mean, what are we gonna, not plow Island Road or something? I mean,
No, I don't.
yeah, I've had a chat with town manager in St. George. He said the same thing, be prepared. All right, so regular meeting is the 13th.
Yes.
And that's at 6. So that's August 8th. August 13th. And August 27th.
Is the workshop at 4 o'clock?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, and that's tentative. I mean, I'm not sure we can get the companies down here.
Right.
Might have to do it just with snowplow. Anything else? So if there are no objections, we're adjourned. Yay.
Bye, Terry.
Huh?
Terry, bye.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
Actually, that wasn't as long a meeting.
Bye, everybody.
What? Bye.
It was really funny to watch it from this side.